Life is a battle, and we human beings are the warriors, the soldiers on the battlefield. Now, as a soldier, you must defend yourself against the enemy. The enemies of life are so many things seen and unseen, told and untold. Irene was a soldier on the battlefield that fought and fought and fought, and at the end of it all, she triumphed against all odds. Irene lived 2 decades of her life with a chronic lung disease, and finally, it took her 2 legs off. But did she give up because her 2 legs were taken off? No, it was another turnaround for her. The story wasn't funny, but today it's interesting. Welcome to Against All Odds on the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA. My name is Doshima Pius Ikirabe. This episode promises to be exciting, educative, informative, and very interesting too. I'd like you to just stay and let's roll this together.
This is Against All Odds.
There is nothing that's impossible. We are standing here only because you made a way.
In a world where adversity often overshadows hope, there are stories that shine through as beacon of resilience and courage. This is the story of Dr. Irene Olumese, a woman whose life journey has been marked by profound challenges and unwavering determination. A lung transplant survivor and bilateral amputee, Irene has transformed her trials into a powerful narrative of hope and inspiration.
It all started in 1993 when my doctors found that there was something in my chest. I had been coughing for quite a while and it was not responding to treatment. And then when they did the x-ray, they saw something at the University Teaching Hospital in Ibadan. They had to do a surgery to find out what that was. And it turned out to be a benign tumor. But after they brought it out, it was a major surgery to bring that out. It was between my heart and my lungs. The coughing did not stop, and I continued to cough nonstop every day for the next 20 years. In the midst of all of that, we were trying to find out what exactly was going on because other things were happening along the side as the problem got progressively worse. In 1998, they made a diagnosis that it's a chronic disease of the lungs and also a debilitating neuromuscular disease, which means that there's a weakness in my muscles, and all of that made me to continue to cough, very bad, intense coughing. And the weaknesses in my muscles meant that, my hands can suddenly drop, and whatever is there will just drop off. My eyelids can just suddenly come down, and I will not be able to see, or my pupils dilate, or it can be so bad that I can't even lift up my hand to comb my hair. So because that disease is called myasthenia gravis.
For 20 years, Irene battled chronic respiratory disease known as bronchiectasis and a debilitating neurological muscular disorder. These conditions not only tested her physical endurance, but also her spirit.
And while I was working in the northern region of Ghana in 2003, the lungs collapsed in the northern part, and there was no medical facility to take care of me. And so I couldn't be air freighted, air ambulanced to Accra. So I had to be placed in an ambulance at 10 plus hours on the road without oxygen and brought back to Accra. The doctors still don't know how I survived that trip with collapsed lungs. My lungs had become so tired that they could not hold enough oxygen for me to survive. So I needed to be on supplemental oxygen, meaning that I need to carry a bottle of oxygen with me 24 hours a day for me to be able to breathe. And then in 2010, the doctors told me that they had exhausted all medical options and that the only thing that was left is for me to have a lung transplant. And that meant that somebody has to die for me to live, because you can't buy lungs and you can't take lungs from a living person to give to another person. So it has to be from somebody who has accepted to be a donor. And as the person passes away, they keep the person and harvest the lungs and then take out my diseased lung and put that. So from 2010, I had to be on the waiting list because it just doesn't happen. All right. So it took 3 years. And by this time, the situation had gotten so bad that I had to be on a ventilator. So it was literally medicalizing my home. The ventilator that we talk about during the COVID period. Yeah. So it was like having that in my home to help me to breathe so that my lungs would not forget to breathe while I was sleeping. 2013, when eventually they found a suitable donor for me, and then they called me to come and have the lung transplant.
In a life defining moment, Irene underwent a lung transplant, a procedure that offered a lifetime but came with unforeseen complications. The battle wasn't over, it was just beginning.
Shortly after the surgery, I developed complications, and that I got very strong lungs. That was, to replace my own diseased lungs. So they had to put me in a medically induced coma. So I was in coma for about 5 weeks. In that period, I was on an oxygen, heart-lung machine. My systems were failing. I had to be on renal, I had a renal failure. I had to be on dialysis as well. So I was literally on 3 machines to keep me alive. And in that process, something went wrong. There was insufficient blood flow to my hands and to my legs. So by the time I was in coma for about 3 weeks, they knew that both lungs and legs were dying. And then they told my husband that they need to amputate both the hands and the legs to save my life. And for me at that point in time, that was more than any human being can handle. 20 years coughing nonstop, 7 years on oxygen, 3 years on ventilator, and then waking up from coma. I had strong lungs. I would not have hands and legs. I just told God, take me home. I'm done. I'm not doing this, But you see, when you have gone on a very long journey, you get to understand that life just does not happen to you anyhow. And that everything that happens to you has a purpose. We rested our case in the Lord, and the 2 legs were amputated below the knees 2 weeks after I came out of coma. And that was on the 31st of May, 2013. But my hands began to show some signs of recovery. All the nails fell off, and I spent 3 months removing all the dead tissues from my hands. So, here is a new life without 2 legs. What next? The way my husband and my sons managed the situation, they were able to take care of my stumps even when I couldn't touch it. helped me to come to terms with the fact that if my family can accept me, the people who are closest to me can accept me, then I can accept myself. And it was after they did that that I was finally able to touch the storms. I mean, of course, I wept.
Yet, in the face of this devastating loss, she found an unyielding strength. Irene's story is not just about survival, it's about thriving in the aftermath of trauma. Her journey through these multidimensional, life threatening experiences has become a source of inspiration for many.
While I was learning how to walk again, I mean, you know what it is like for an adult to have to know how to put one foot in front of the other. The question that came to my mind was, how do amputees in Nigeria cope? We know what our medical facilities are like. I know how expensive these legs are. Who is giving them legs? Who is supporting them? So all through the months of my therapy, that question will not leave my mind. Who is helping amputees in Nigeria? I knew immediately what I wanted to do. That will set up a foundation that will provide prosthetic limbs for women and children. So that was our objective, that all may walk again. And that I will use my story of 20 long years of living with chronic diseases to inspire hope and encourage people who are going through challenges. And we will do different activities to raise funds to provide prosthetic limbs for women and children with missing limbs. And we focused on women and children with missing limbs for a reason. You see, a woman already is at a disadvantaged position. If you now have missing limbs, that means that that woman can no longer go to work. She can't go to market. She can't do the things that other people can do. If a young girl loses her limbs, she can stop going to school because of that. I mean, we have several young girls who have lost their limbs and they stop going to school. So can you imagine no education, missing limbs, and you are a female? What is going to happen to that girl? What life is that girl going to live? We will target our support. It will be where it will have maximum impact. Young girls, women, so that they can get back to school and get back to work.
The foundation's work goes beyond just physical rehabilitation. Irene understands the emotional and psychological toll that comes with such a life altering experience. Through her work, she aims to restore not just mobility, but dignity and hope.
This is Against All Odds.
Irene's journey and her commitment to uplifting others are captured in her book, Grace in the Storms. A living proof, this work reflects her desire to help others navigate the storms of life with courage and faith, to transform their pain into a source of strength and purpose.
My story has a purpose, that my life has a purpose. You know, there's a scripture that says that I will comfort you in all your afflictions with the same comfort with which you will comfort others. 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 3 to 4. And I had that with me since October 1984. And that had helped me through all my life struggles. That everything that happened to me will benefit somebody else. No matter how adverse, how difficult, how challenging it was, it will benefit somebody else. And so it's been using my story all through those years to bring hope to others. All through the 20 long years, what I went through is recorded in a book. It's not something that I can share in the few minutes that we have together. It was one after the other, one after the other. But what I saw in all of it was that at the end of it, I'm always in a position to comfort somebody else. I'm always in a position to support somebody else. I think it was in 2001 when somebody heard my story as at where we were in 2001 and said, Irene, you have a story to tell. You need to write a book. And just did like this, right? And then in 2003, another person heard my story and said the same thing. Irene, you have a story to tell. You need to write a book. And by the mouth of three witnesses, I decided to start jotting down because really it was more problems and problems and problems then. But in the midst of every problem, I found something, hope. I found something that would inspire others and encourage others. So I started journaling. And by the time it got to 2010, I had written so much about what I was experiencing and the victory I was having on an everyday basis. So when the whole thing now happened in 2013, I knew. And now that I have new lungs, new legs, I knew I have a complete book ready. So I did the book because no matter how much I could travel and share my story, I believe that this book can go further than where I could go to bring hope and comfort to others and encourage them. And that's what motivated the book. It's a personal story of life's caught in gusty wings of chronic illnesses and adversity and the mighty hands of God that anchored them through the storms.
It is one knowing that God is good and He would not bring things my way which He has not equipped me to. So when something happens and it is challenging, I'm not asking, why me? It is what are the tools you have given me to walk through this? One thing I must say is that one thing where I got help from God is I'm a doctor. So I know everything happening. I know all the complications and all. But somehow I was able to put aside doctor and just be a husband. I think that helped a great deal. It's like when she was passing through all those challenges, those health issues and challenges, in my workplace, they didn't know. It was only those who were friends who knew as friends, but not officially in my workplace. Because one, I was determined that no one is going to say, I am not doing my work because my wife. That was my private business and private issue. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but somehow, like I said, not compartmentalizing my life, but seeing it as one package, everything. It's putting God first. Of course, she is next. And everything fell into place. Yeah, I guess at the end of the day, it's the grace of God. That's the bottom line. We look back now and try to put them in, but day by day, it's trusting and the grace of God. The who I am today, it's all part of what we have passed through. So relationship certainly grew stronger, certainly grew. I got to know God the more, better from a different perspective, and also to be there. The children, the two boys also grew and matured. So it actually brought us together as a family. I want to tell men, you need all to get up and become men. One of the things we see in society today is men failing in their responsibility as men. You can't run from it. It's a responsibility you've been equipped to, and we need to man up. And when I mean man up, it's not muscles. It's actually responsibility and accountability, and take that responsibility in the family, to take that responsibility of providing care and all and support for the family. So that's one message I will give. And secondly is that we pass through challenges. It's a given. Most times people complain that, oh, what I am today is because of what has happened to me. This happened to me as a child. No. You do not have a control over what happens to you, but you have a control over how you respond to that, and that's what makes you. Not the things that happen to you, but the way you respond to them. That's actually what defines who you are. So my advice is, You can do it. Rise up and take the moment and make the best of it.
This is Against All Odds.
Everything that happens to us happens for a reason. And I think the greatest evil we can do ourselves is to waste our pain. I tell people, don't waste your pain. Your pain will be in vain if it does not serve as a gain for somebody else. We waste our pain if we don't transform it to become something that can be meaningful and significant. And that understanding alone led me to go back and study to become a trauma-informed coach. Somebody who helps others to transform their pain. Pain is powerful. It can take us to the despair. It can take us to depression. But if you begin to see your pain as something that can serve a higher purpose, then you can take that experience that happened to you and transform it into something that can serve a bigger purpose, a purpose that is larger than you. Hold fast to hope that this situation will turn around, that God is able to work all things together for good, and to see that your situation can be transformed in a way that gives you a testimony. So when you're going through situations that are overwhelming, the way you are looking at it matters. If you see it at this is life, oh, me, why me, why me, why me? You sink into depression, into despair. But if you turn it around, something is going to come out of this. I'm going to have a story to tell because of this. My muscles are going to be built up because of this. I'm going to learn. I'm going to grow. In this situation, as bad as it is, there is a lesson that I will bring out of it that will bring growth to me and hopefully to somebody else. You see the way my posture changes? It goes from here to here. So you do not become an overwhelmed victim. You want to be an overcoming victor. You want to be
Dr.
someone
Irene
who sees a reason
Olumese
to get
is a
joy.
testament to the power of resilience and the human spirit's capacity to rise above adversity. Her story is a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is light. Through her work, her words, her life, Irene inspires us all to live victoriously, regardless of the challenges we face daily.
I want people to remember me as someone who did not give up when life happened. I want people to remember me as somebody who brought hope for others despite what she has been through. I want this book, Grace in the Storms, to be a source of encouragement for everyone that there is a grace of God that sustains us through the storms of life. I want people to remember that there was a girl that came and walked the surface of earth. Life happened to her, but she refused to allow what happened to her to define who she is. But she used her life experience as a springboard to become a conduit of hope, a conduit of support for other people. I want to be remembered as somebody who did not waste her pain, but she made her pain to count as a gain for others. That is the legacy that I would like to leave behind.
This is Against All Odds.
Oh my God, Dr. Irene, my inspirator. She so inspired me. You know, when you're passing through some certain things in life, you would think your own is the worst until you meet another person. Have you ever thought, this is how many years running against all odds? I did not know that lungs failure can actually take your two legs away. We need to take care of our health. And my dear brothers and sisters, when you are offered a broken egg, please make omelets. And when you're given lemons, use them to make lemonade. Life is beautiful. If you agree, it is truly beautiful. Face your life's challenges headlong, and you will be happy. Thank you for staying with us on Against All Odds on the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA. We'll do this again next week, same time, same station. Always be positive. Life is about positivity. Life is a challenge, but we will definitely surmount it. Bye.
Jungle.